Another doctor office, another urgent care. Let me turn this car off. It's making. Yeah, the grandson, now the grandson, the great grandson, I should say, is at the doctor. And he has like a little pus, or, like it looks like a pimple or something, or maybe a bug bite. And I guess it needs to be lanced. And here I am, sitting out, waiting in the parking lot. I do a lot of that, right? Well, I'm back for the third time today, believe it or not. And I'm going to talk about or tell the final dream, the second dream. This one was really different. It didn't have anything to do with, or it didn't seem to have anything to do with uh, the vision and the last dream. This one, I think, is telling us or giving a warning of what is coming and possibly what will be needed by us. So, and I think I can see the chat. I think. I'm not sure. I see two people, but I'm not sure if I can see the chat or not. It just says, welcome to live chat. Remember to guard your privacy, abide our community guidelines, blah, 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 blah. And I forgot to turn it to the sideways way. So sorry about that. I forget you have to do that every single time you go live. You have to make it go horizontal. Otherwise, it's default vertical. And I know a lot of people that watch this on computers and stuff like that, it looks better horizontal. The ones on the phone, I guess it really doesn't matter because you could turn your phone sideways. But anyways, welcome. And let's get into this. So my second dream was probably about 2 weeks after the first dream. And in this one, I found myself realizing 10 pounds lighter. Hey, I can see the chat. Yay, I can see the chat. Yeah, 10 pounds lighter. I actually am 30 pounds lighter, believe it or not. I've lost weight. I've been eating right and exercising and doing all the right things. I went from like 217 to 173. And now I hover between 173 and 180 instead of 210 to 217. So I'm feeling a lot better. And how you doing lurks a lot. Good seeing you. So the second dream, I found myself in where I live, and everything had fell apart. I mean, absolutely everything. There was no cops, there was no military, there was no government, not any federal government, state government, local government. As I wandered around assessing where I was and what's going on and realizing there was the law and order part was pretty bad. There was people breaking into windows of stores and looting, and people going to people's houses and kicking the door in. I mean, no knocking or anything, just kicking the door in and taking what they want, food, water. I mean, it was just rampaging all over. And nobody approached me or said anything to me or even looked at me. It was it was as if I was invisible at this point. So hi Lisa and Joe. So I made my way to to the city hall of my town, and I found crowds of people, and they were demanding answers, the safety, protection. Some people were wanting to know what was going on. There was other people that were trying to take control, and I talked to them. I talked to these people, or I wanted to help because it was bad. I mean, somebody had to start organizing because it was just absolutely mayhem everywhere. And I realized I wasn't getting anywhere with the state or the city government. So I thought I'll head to the Capitol. And in the dream, I was, I don't know, translated. I went from city hall to state capitol in like it seemed like 2 blocks of walking. And I got there, and even worse was going on at the state capitol. I mean, everywhere was people robbing people, uh, people doing bad things all over the place, and that it made an impression on me that when everything falls apart, when our structure falls apart, that people go ballistically crazy, and it it really lurks a lot. As I was doing that dream, I was kind of feeling like this is a future event, and this is what's going to happen. And but I went into City Hall to see what I could do. Like, I was hoping there was somebody in there to start organizing something, especially some kind of law and order. That seemed like the most important thing to me, was law and order. So I was in there, and I was listening to the different people that were calling for law and order, and they had a solution, and they were telling their solution. So some of them sounded reasonable, and I approached them and talked to them, and what I found out almost immediately was that it wasn't they wanted law and order so much as they wanted to be in control of the organization of whatever happens. And that was, I could sense in my spirit, I don't know any other way to put that, but I could sense in my spirit, and then it was some of them outright said it and thought it was funny, that they wanted the power. They wanted power over everyone. And they thought if they could organize everyone into their kind of law and order, or whatever it was they had planned, they would have control, power over people. And they would be calling the shots. And that bothered me really bad. And I could tell some of them were really catching the ear of the crowd. And I mean, it was packed. The state capitol was wall to wall people demanding answers, and there was nobody there to answer anything. It was just a bunch of people and mayhem all over the place, and violence, and ticked off people, a lot of ticked off people. So I finally I stood up in front of everyone, and I got I got up on something where everyone could see me, and I called for everyone to pay attention and to organize. And I asked, like, where's the governor at? Where is he? Like, where are the people that we voted or elected, supposedly elected? Where are they? Where are these leaders that we should be trying to organize everything? there were none to be found. They were gone. I don't know what happened to them. They just were not there. And there was nobody. I mean, no police chiefs, no police, no anything. And I started calling for, let's organize, let's get organized. And we don't need the governor. We don't need the police. We just need to get together all on the same page and all agree on what, at least to get some law and order going. And some of the ones that were wanting that power, they immediately were trying to shout me down. They were, you know, don't listen to this guy, don't listen. And they were ticking me off. So I wasn't getting anywhere. I had a few people that had come up to me and they're actually handing me money. This is weird. I don't understand what was going on, but they started handing me big wads of cash. And I don't know how that helps. In the dream, I kind of thought that it would help organize or be able to help organize that. But it seemed weird to me still that some people were just handing me loads of money, and that part still doesn't make sense. Maybe you guys could help me figure that out. I don't know. And maybe even all of it, because I don't know. I'm not saying I understand all these visions and dreams. What I do understand is he's been dealing with me on faith things, having faith to prepare for something like what I'm talking about in this dream. That there'll be no way, excuse me, there'll be, the structure is going to go down. So it makes sense that you would need faith more than your own self to get by and actually live. And so the faith part, I get it, I really get it. So in the dream, I decide that some of these guys that are shouting me down, I need to confront them. And maybe I can, as I'm confronting them and other people hear my argument to them, that they'll see these people for what they are. And so I set out to do that. I didn't get anywhere. Well, I did. I mean, some people that were listening to them and pledging allegiance to them, I guess you would say, they got on the side on the side of we the people, right? We the people, not anybody in charge. Like some people that can organize, and I'm pretty good at that. I mean, I worked in the casino and I was in a very high position, and I had hundreds of employees under me, and I organized some of the best promotions. But I know that's different, but organizing people is the same thing as any kind of organizing. So, I mean, it's just the different goal of organizing. So as I'm arguing with some of these, I don't know, they seem like cabal, gang or mafia. It kind of felt like that, that they were leaders, all right, but they had the bad intention leaders. And I was starting to figure out I wasn't going to get anywhere with these guys. They were really hell bent on having the power and being in control of everyone and using violence if they had to get their way if they had to. And all of a sudden I could hear, it sounded like the military coming, and I could hear them marching and calling out, left, left. So I knew it was the military. And when they got there, I was thinking, wow, maybe there is some structure still somewhere in the government And immediately they were more rogue. It it blew me away. And I found out they were Marines. And the guy actually started going after me. Their leader, I don't know what rank he was or anything. I just know everybody was following him and listening to him. And he came out and he comes straight for me, like he was going to take me out, not hurt me physically or anything, but make me understand that he's in charge and he's going to organize everything and not me. And I gave him the platform. I told him, go ahead, tell us what you can do. I mean, let's hear it. What do you got? And he was going on, and he seemed he didn't have any organization skills really. So it became obvious that even to a lot of other people that this guy, he didn't have it, and he was actually kind of like against the people, which I think that's how I felt in the dream. I felt like the people are what's important, what the people have strength in numbers, and no person that wants to do bad or any kind of things like this, the people will have the power over that if they all can agree and not be swayed away from being organized and having leaders, but not leaders that are going to use force on them or anything. Have the will of the people, kind of like how it's supposed to be in America. And I started asking this guy questions, this officer, and I asked him if wherever, whoever his people that he take orders from, um, or have they ever done anything good for him? Like, do they have his best interest? Are they protecting his family? Are his family going through the same thing we're going through? Is everything in chaos in his world as well? And how about your soldiers, the ones that are following you? What about them? What about their family? How's everything going with you? And he was listening. He was absolutely listening. And finally, he agreed with me that they weren't doing anything for him or with him or for anyone in his little band of guys. Marines, I found out there are Marines. That surprised me a little bit. They were Marines. And he told me, I back this guy. I join with him, and the people are important. The main people, the people of the world are what's important, not government, not anybody. The will of the people will organize, and we'll do it for the people, for our families, for our children, for our neighbors. He decided, and he went on, and it was really glorious. And then as he was doing that, people are coming up and just throwing cash down, like all this cash, throwing it down at our feet. And I couldn't understand. I still don't understand the money part. And it was about that time. I mean, this wasn't it was a long dream, but only to tell it like how I'm telling it. I don't have to tell, each person that I argued with and tried to prove a point or hear their point. That is really the dream right there. And I woke up and I knew it meant something immediately. And I did the same thing as the first dream. I grabbed my phone and turned on the voice recorder and recorded it so that I would remember. But I remember, I remember. In fact, I'm even telling details that I didn't tell, uh, that I didn't say as I recorded it, because I knew I was going to remember. I knew I was. I didn't have to worry about forgetting it like in the first dream. as I came out of it, the only thing I forgot or wasn't allowed to remember, I think that's more the point. I wasn't allowed to remember what was said, what I said, that was because that isn't the point. The point was faith. And the situations that we are going to find ourselves in, we will need faith to make it. And every situation is going to be different. So if he would have let me remember what it was that I said, then I would be looking for those situations, and I would be strong in the faith there, but I may be weak in other places. And so the main takeaway from those was we're going to find ourselves in a position where even in the first dream there was going to have to be faith to live, because all hell was going to break loose. I mean, that is, I was fighting demons. I mean, and then this dream kind of helped me figure out that, because now this time everything is undone. There was no structure, no law and order, no infrastructure, nothing. And it was up to the people, us. And there was some people that was going to have to take the lead and organize everyone. And I have a feeling that they probably won't listen. But if you're going by the first dream, we're going to be walking in miracle power, faith, miracle power, be able to call down healings. And I mean, it won't be your power, it's God's power, but we'll be able to use the word, the sword of the Spirit, and we'll be able to take out those demons that are causing all these problems. And I believe people will get behind that and want the same thing as they watch their world fall apart. I mean, that's where I'm at. So uh, that's about it. And now I can see chat. Now that is a trip, because I couldn't see chat in the last two videos. And now I can read it. It says, think Somalia, Nicaragua, Congo. Yeah, yeah. Americans have always thrown money at problems. Yeah, and I'm wondering, like in the dream when they were throwing the money at me, I was thinking, does it have any value? I mean, it's a bunch of cash. It probably has no value whatsoever unless we place a value on it, right? I mean, there's probably no banks. There's no anything. I mean, like, what would have value in this? Would it be gold and silver? Would it be things, bartering? I mean, after the dream, I've had maybe a little over a month now, or about a month since this dream, to think about it. And I'm thinking that maybe we put a value on our currency enough to use it still as a currency, even though there's no banks, there's no cops, there's no city hall, there's no Congress, there's no military, there's nothing. There was absolutely nothing, just a bunch of raging people doing whatever they wanted because there was no restraint, no law and order, and people were abusing it like crazy. But yeah, so now that I have chat working, I would love to. Yeah, the Paranormal Joe. That's something that I have. I do these weird things, okay? I don't know if anybody else does, but in 1986, I found God, or he found me, one or the other. But I was on the street. I was losing my wife. I lost my job. I lost my friends. I lost everything, and I didn't believe in God. And I was sitting in front of the courthouse. I just got released out of jail for 30 counts of attempted manslaughter with a vehicle. And I was at my lowest point, and I thought I was losing everything. And I asked God, if you're real, you have to help me because I can't help myself. I absolutely am ruining my life, and I can't seem to do anything right, and everything seems to go bad, and I can't stop. I can't stop drinking. I can't stop being a dumbass. I just couldn't stop. I mean, I was being a dumbass to my wife, my friends. I mean, I even punched one of my friends I grew up with. I punched him clean out just because he didn't agree with me. That punched him clean out, and for no reason. And I mean, I feel bad now, totally bad. I mean, I still feel guilty, but I cried out to God, even though I didn't know He was there. I was crying out that, are you real? If you're real, you have to save me from myself, because I can't stop. I haven't been able to do anything for myself. The very next day, when normally I would get up and I would be thinking, okay, how am I going to get some booze today? Like, what kind of thing could I get into today to where I can get myself a big old buzz and forget everything, right? And the sad part is I would find a way every single day, but I would never remember the end of the day. I always wound up uh, blacking out and not having a memory of a lot of bad stuff I did. And I don't remember a lot of, like, the 30 counts of manslaughter with a vehicle or attempted. I do not remember that. Even though my whole family watched me try to run these people over with a car. I mean, absolutely out of hand. But, okay, that said, the next morning, I didn't have a desire for it. And the next day, and the next day, and my wife wasn't able to leave. Nothing worked out for her. She was leaving. She was taking the kids. She was done. After, several years of that, she had enough of my nonsense, and she was leaving. But every avenue that she had to leave got blocked. Even though she noticed that I wasn't, I stopped, she didn't trust me. She didn't trust me for 6 years. For 6 years, she was waiting for me to fall off the wagon and go back to my old self. And here we are. Let's see, it was April 26, 1986 was when that happened. That day, the day that I cried out to God, was April 26, 1986. I'll never, ever, ever forget. But since then, I have I have come to know the Lord really well. He's taken me around the world, um, showed me visions. Still, like, the visions are like daydreams, and they happen all the time. And I don't ask for them. Man, I got a frog in my throat. Excuse me. But I never asked for the visions or the dreams. All I ask for is Him to be in my life and lead my life. So, when I'm doing things, driving, oh, there's my wife. She messaged me. How am I doing? I'm not going to reply yet. She isn't watching my video. She should be watching my video. She would know, right? Sorry, guys. I digress. So yeah, so He's showed me in these little visions, mini visions, that something's coming, and I actually know what that is. I know it's coming. I haven't shared this part yet, I was going to share it later, but since I told that dream pretty quick, I'll share what's coming. Are you ready? Ready to know what's coming? Jesus is coming. Jesus is coming. We're going to see Jesus step into our realm and set up his kingdom. That's what's coming. He showed me how that it's no government is going to stand, none. They're all going to go down because his kingdom will be set up on the earth. His kingdom, that's his government. There will be, we are going to see people's legs grow back, eyes grow back. We're going to see miracles like you never saw. And if you have a relationship with Jesus, start working that, because you can be one of the people that is going to spearhead him coming back. And a lot of people aren't going to believe. Like a lot of people right now listening, they're going to say, oh, yeah, right, dude, you know, Jesus is coming back. I'll tell you right now, he's coming. The world is going to hell in a handbasket on purpose, because none of it, the actual things that have been battling for ever, a long time, that's all they're going to be defeated. That was the first dream that I talked about on here, was defeating the demons. Jesus already did what he's going to do. Now it's up to us. He told us in his word that we will be the ones doing the miracles like he did when he was walking the earth the last time. He says we're the ones that will do even more miracles than he did. That time is coming right now. That time. And I didn't accuse you of anything about the booze, bro, at all. Everyone has their own thing that they need to deal with Jesus. Everyone has that. And mine happened to be alcohol and drugs and party, and I never cheated on my wife like that. Mine was all about pleasure, that kind of pleasure, getting drunk and partying and where was the next party and all that. Jesus will find you wherever you're at. When you call out to him, he's right there. He isn't somewhere real far, or he's right there. All you have to do is stop and turn around. You'll bump right into him because he's following you. He loves us. We're his. He shed his blood for us. He died so that we don't have to. We might be the generation that never sees death. We may be changed into our immortal body like his, where we have the flesh and the spirit, and be immortal after that. We don't die. We absolutely don't die now. A lot of people could feel it, Alistair. A lot of Ailstar, or Ailey, I'll say Alistair. A lot of people could feel something happening. I mean, like the ice. Can you feel it? Okay, that's a big question. Can you feel it? Can you see it? Can you see the news? Can you see what's going on? Are you paying attention? Are you so caught up in your own problems that you can't see it? Some of those problems you have are what's coming. Like, I'm sure a lot of people could sense it and feel it and see it coming. There's been no other time like this ever. It's absolutely worse than, well, maybe not quite as worse as before the flood when he killed every single person on earth except for these 8 people he put in a boat. And I'm no Bible scholar, okay? I've read the Bible a bunch of times over the years, but I don't, I mean, Psalm 91, that's my scripture. Psalm 91, that's the only one I know, and John 3:16, those two, right? John 3:16. So God gave his only son for us to have life. Psalm 91, you know, I can't quote it exactly. It's the valley of death. You fear no evil. You know, 1,000 will fall at your right hand, 10,000 at your left. And then he says, stand there. Don't do anything. When you've gone as far as you could go and you've done everything you know, stand there and watch the Lord decimate your enemies. That's what's coming. That's what's coming. Jesus is coming. All power and authority. He gave his physical body meat bag life so that we could have life. Otherwise, we were doomed. We're all doomed. There wasn't going to be any kingdom with us in it. That the only way was to have that. And that is what he did. I haven't went to church in years. And my problem was like, and I'm talking like 1988, right? I went to church for a couple of years. I traveled around with this one church. They hired me, and they were a world church, you know, a world, I won't say the church name, but it was Pentecostal church, and they were a world organization, and they sent money to other countries, poor countries. And they hired me to travel with them and document with my camera, where does the money go? Where does all the money go that people send over to around the world to help all these people that have nothing? No running water, no electricity. I mean, at one village I watched as a dump truck came backing up, and there was little fish like this big, and they're all dried out, and it was a dump truck load of it. And it pulled up in this big village of around, I don't know, 900, 1,200 people, something like that. And it dumped these fish on the ground. Well, it looks like they're done, and that was quick, 38 minutes. I was keeping track of the time. Okay, that was my last stream. I'm going to come back, and I want to talk about all these things. And I want to pray for everyone really quick. I pray everyone blessings on every area of your life, abundant blessings in every area that you see and feel and find Jesus. Amen. Okay, you guys, I'll catch you on the next video. Cool.